My name's Andy Young and welcome to my Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now this video is quite different to anything else on the channel, and it's now been 6 months since I started uploading videos onto YouTube, initially for my students. And one of the things that I find absolutely fascinating is how the video has propagated throughout the internet. Where the links end up, you know, how does it get the views? How do the videos become popular and how do they not become popular? What's the reason for it? And is there a reason for it, or is it just luck? And believe me, I categorically do not really understand, but I find the stats fascinating. And there's very little that I've come across on YouTube about the stats and the background stuff of having videos on YouTube. One of the most complex and difficult things to understand is how the revenue is calculated, and I still have no idea. But what I thought would be useful for you guys is to see a channel that, yes, I think it is starting to pick up pretty well, and to see the stats that relate to the background of what's been going on. And then maybe you can give me some feedback on how you think it's going, because obviously you've seen the stats for your channels, and I'm just putting it out there and sharing my experience of having a YouTube channel. So I'm going to move the camera around and I'll flick up various graphs and bits and pieces on the screen, and you can see what's been going on. Okay, so a good place to start would be, what software am I using to access all this information? It's not directly off YouTube. I mean, on YouTube, on this monitor here, if we go on to analytics on there, it's pretty slow, sorry. It's going to bring up basically the same kind of information, but I find it a lot easier to use what's called YouTube Studio. Now, YouTube Studio is an app that you can download for your phone. You probably be able to run it on a PC as well, I'm not sure. But you know, you can get these kind of graphs, but if I'm doing any kind of social media stuff, and I put the graphs on Instagram and that kind of thing, to show people, promote the channel basically. But I find that the graphs that are produced by YouTube Studio are far more amenable to using as overlays and stuff. I mean, to give you an idea of that, I'll just stick those on there. That's a really good example of one of my Instagram posts, and of course it's got me in the workshop, which is what it's all about, and it's just me celebrating the fact that I've reached so many views, and it's got the banner down the bottom, and that works really well. And with those kind of graphs, because it's filled in, it's perfect, whereas the ones that YouTube give me, it's just a line, and when it's done in the same kind of way, it's just lost. I don't see anybody else doing this kind of stuff. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I shouldn't do it. I don't know. But it seems to work pretty well. I like it. Okay, so if we go back to the graphs now, the Studio app has a symbol. I'll put it on the screen. It has got basically like a gear symbol to it, and you can download that to your phone, which is really cool. And where's the next one? Basically, it gives you all the same information, but in a very easy to manage way. There is a lot of stuff that you can't do on there. I mean, it doesn't give you access to your bank account details and all that kind of thing, and AdSense, which is the background payment side of it. It doesn't give you access to any of that, or at least I haven't found it anyway. But it gives you really just, I find it useful for like real-time views, see how the videos are progressing on a daily basis, or even over the period of a day. You can keep flicking on there very easily and just see what's going on. And of course, I use it for any kind of communication. You know, any posts, any comments that are made, I can respond back really quick. I don't need to be by a PC. It's a lot faster than using the YouTube stuff through a browser. Okay. So let's look at, as promised, let's look first of all at watch time. Now, the channel was launched back sort of middle of December time. I've actually had a YouTube channel for about 3 or 4 years, but I didn't use it for Andy Mechanic, and there was nothing else really posted on there. So if we look at, first of all, watch times. Now, today is the 13th of July 2016, and I've started the graphs basically from the start of January this year, so it gives us a pretty much a 6-month period, and you'll see on the graph just how the watch time in minutes has picked up over the last, well, really since sort of March it got going. Now there is a bit of a peak during March. Let me explain that. That's my students starting to watch the videos at the start of their semester. Now from the middle of March onwards, the students haven't been watching my videos very much. I haven't been using them in my lectures, mainly because what I've been teaching hasn't been in line with the content of many of the videos, which is unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. But starting the next semester in a couple of weeks, then many of the videos are going to be used in my lectures, and we're going to see a huge increase in the watch time. So I wanted to do this before that really got put in the mix, because it would have sort of falsified the figures a little bit. What you're seeing here, other than that glitch in March, is genuine, real world views, you know, nothing there commercially. Now if we look at that over the 3-month period, this is the graph that will give you over 3 months, which starts sort of 12th of April. We can see here there's a really progressive trend, and we've gone from probably around about 200 minutes a day at the start of 12th of April, and we've gone up to an average of around about 750 minutes per day, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty good. I'm really happy with that kind of increase, but I have no idea how that compares with anybody else's stats. So give me an idea. 6-month-old channel, is that what we'd expect to see? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. And then if you look at the last month, then it's gone from an average of about, I don't know, about 450, maybe 500, up to an average of, again, yeah, about 750. So over the last 4 weeks there's been a dramatic increase, and I think Steve Robb's been responsible for quite a chunk of that, actually. Now if we go across to, so we've done watch time, let's do views now. Now again, on the YouTube Studio there's a function on there where you can see the views over the last 48 hours, which I found really helpful, and it shows you really the impact it has when you post a new video, because obviously quite a lot of your subscribers will watch the new video within the first couple of days, and this peak in the middle here is exactly that. I posted a couple of videos, I think it was the RAV4's episode 3 and a wheel building video, and it just shot up within an hour of posting those videos. I hit, I think it was 24 views in 1 hour, in a 1 hour period, which sounds nothing, but for me, for my channel, that's a lot. So this estimated views is, so this 48-hour view graph is really cool, and it also gives you a total up in the right hand corner of how many views you've had in the last 48 hours in total. And this morning, which is what prompted me to do this stats video, is for the first time I hit a new record of 330 views in the last 48 hours, which is fantastic. So chuffed with that. You know, only a month ago that was around about 100 or 80 views, so there's a big difference. So if we look at views over the last 6 months, then again you can see there's a really good trend on the graph, where it's actually, it's not even a straight line, there is actually a curve in there, and I haven't run any kind of software to prove that, you know, there's a curve, but it's definitely a huge increase. You know, if you look at just after when the students stopped watching, sort of middle of March, we were around about 20 views a day, and now we're looking around about 130, 140 views a day. Huge difference. Total number of views, just over 8,000 in the last 6 months. So over a 6-month period, again, you can still see the trend. Again, you could argue it's more of a straight line on this particular graph. But again, in the last 3 months, out of that 8,000 views, there's 6,500 of them happened in the last 3 months. So the first 3 months, there was only 1,500 views, and the second quarter, we had 6,500 views. That's a massive increase in anybody's book, really. And if we go to just the last month, then again, there is still a steady increase on there. You'll find when you look at these graphs, obviously it spreads the whole thing out, so you get less of a steep climb. But the bottom line is, in the last 4 weeks, it's gone from around about, probably about 75 views a day up to, your sort of 135, your 140 views, which is really cool. And again, in the last 4 weeks, nearly 3,000 of those views have happened out of the 8,000 total. So again, huge. So what else have we got to look at? Well, we've got them. I want to cover the monetization last. Okay, yeah, monetized playbacks. Let's cover that bit next. So you monetize playbacks over the 6-month period. There is a trend, and YouTube, only in the last few weeks that I discovered, allowed you to put additional adverts on your videos, and you could put them anywhere you wanted, and as many as you wanted. Now, as most of you know, some of my videos are really, really long, and my apologies, but I do try to cover the technical aspects of what I'm doing, and there's a lot of information to get across, and I try to cover various scenarios. So it's all about being informative, and that unfortunately leads to long videos. But it does allow me to place or put in a reasonable number of adverts over, say, a 1-hour video. I could put in 5 or 6 adverts, and I started to do that. It would have been about middle of June, back end of June, and it made a huge difference to the monetized playbacks on the graph. From about the middle of June, it stepped right up, and it went up about 3-fold. Did the earnings, which is amazing and actually really interesting, and also pretty good, because I do need to create some kind of revenue from this, if nothing else, to cover the costs of doing it, which it's still got a long way to go yet. So over the last 6 months, you can see that the revenue earned was very, very sporadic for the first 3 months. That peak again in March was down to the students watching the videos. So there was a very intense period, and many, many, many minutes watched and many views during that March period. But then it sort of reset really in April when they stopped watching the videos, and really it's from April onwards that it's the genuine sort of viewings via the YouTube fraternity, so to speak. So if we go across to monetized playbacks over the last 3 months, that's starting sort of April time, April the 12th, you can see there's a definite trend, and there's a huge increase during the sort of from mid-June onwards as regards the revenue period, and it has stepped up quite a lot. I mean, there's nearly 1,500 of the monetized playbacks have happened in the last 3 months, out of a total of 1,800. So the majority has happened in the last 3 months. And in the last 4 weeks, that's 784. So nearly 800 of those have happened only in the last month. Really good. So over half, almost half. Oh, no, just under half of the monetized playbacks have happened in the last 4 weeks on the channel. That's good in my book. It's really good. It shows huge progress. So really, I think that covers all the graphs. What have we got? Oh, revenue. We've got one more to cover. Actual money. Let's talk real money for a second. So estimated revenue over the last 6 months. Sorry, the graph's a bit small, but that's just the way that it came out. So again, you can see during May there's some pretty good spikes, and what I find both confusing and somewhat interesting is the actual payments, the actual credits to your account, so to speak. Not drawdowns, but actual increments up on your revenue. don't really happen in line with, not directly anyway, in line with the monetized views. And you can see that here, that during May there's some big spikes and then there's nothing for a few days. So maybe they don't do the calculations every day, I don't know. But then during July, after I put all the extra adverts on the longer videos, we can now see quite a large block of green from mid-June onwards. Although there is a huge drop, a bit of a hole, which happened in the last couple of days, but I have no idea why that is. But definitely the revenue side of it is on the up. So that was over the last 6 months. Where's the next one? Estimated revenue over the last 3 months. So again, just zooming in now, and it really only started from April onwards. You can see the difference. There was lots and lots of gaps during May. Yes, some good spikes, which was great, and I don't really know why that happened. But once you get into June, we've got a solid baseline of income every day, which is great. It's a good starting point. And the last one would be over the last 4 weeks. So again, you can see the last 4 weeks, every day, bar that one and these 2 days, the channel has earned something, which is great. And in the last 4 weeks, it's earned me $5.66, and that's US. Yeah, enough for a coffee, maybe 2 coffees. Okay, so that's all the graphs. That's it. So, what do you think? I mean, you may have your own YouTube channel, and it may have been around for years, or it may have been around for a month, or it may have been around for 6 months. How do my figures compare to yours? Give me some feedback. Give me an idea of where I stand in the marketplace. Give me some tips. What can I do that might make things better? And what should I not stop doing, which could make things worse? I don't know. These are all just ideas, and I'm just putting my ideas out there to maybe try and help you as well. One thing that Steve Robb did mention, and I'll cover this in this video, is in all of my videos, use the same image for the background of the thumbnails. Now, initially, I used an image which did relate to the content of that video. So if I was changing a cam belt, I would use a picture of a cam belt being changed. Or if I was shaking a tyre off a rim, I would take a picture or use an image of a tyre coming off a rim. But there are others on YouTube that do the same. Eric the Car Guy is the most popular, I'm sure, and there are many others. And they do use that format. They have an image that relates to what the content of that video, and they use some yellow lettering, which stands out about the best, to give a description overlaid on that image of what the video is all about. And after the first 2 or 3 videos that I post on YouTube, I just felt that I was just copying. I was being a copycat, and I wanted to be original, and I wanted my videos to stand out. I wanted people to, when you're scrolling down the search pages of YouTube, I wanted it to be absolutely obvious that it's one of my videos that is that particular video, and it needed to be ultra recognizable. And by using the same thumbnail, and it's quite a prominent thumbnail with the red toolbox on there and the quad bike and stuff, that anybody scrolling down would see that video as mine, they'd recognize it as mine, they'd associate it as me, Andy Mechanic, and they would know that it was a video of good quality. And they wouldn't get confused by these many other vehicle repair videos that use different images and yellow writing, yellow text. So I decided to go down that route. Now, Steve Robb did mention this to me about 2 weeks ago, that maybe I should go back to using different photos for each video. I'm very undecided. So now that you know a bit more background, Steve, what do you think? What do you think to my reasonings for keeping the same thumbnails? Okay, what else? I think that really covers it, actually. I think that covers it for this video. So we've gone through a few of the stats. This is 6 months in. No doubt I'll do another one of these in a year, in another 6 months, and we can see the full year and see how things have progressed. And we've covered the thumbnail thing as well. And we've covered the adverts on YouTube and how that's affected the monetization side of things. So there you go. I hope you found it interesting. My name's Andy Young, and well, you've been watching one of my Andy Mechanic YouTube videos, but this time not about fixing a car for once. Okay, cheers, over and out.